A mother named Ebba decided to share a recording that, according to her, completely changed the course of one early morning inside her home. That night, her son was still awake, and that alone wasn't unusual. The boy is autistic, hyperactive, and often ends up losing sleep in the middle of the night. The real problem is what happens when he's alone in the living room. Watch this. Up until that moment, everything seemed normal. The house was quiet, the lights were dim, that typical late-night atmosphere. But then, something shifts. The boy's behavior changes. That's when things stop making sense.
Mom, the elf has open the door.
Look closely. The boy seems to notice something out of the ordinary. He freezes, focused, like he's following something the camera doesn't clearly show. And then, fear takes over. He suddenly bolts, running straight to the bedroom door, begging for someone to open it. At that moment, it doesn't look like he's pretending. The panic is obvious. He can barely talk. Through tears and desperation, he insists that the elf doll sitting on the shelf in the living room moved on its own. And now pay attention to this detail. If you watch the footage slowly, at the exact moment he stares at the doll, there really does seem to be a subtle, almost imperceptible movement. Nothing dramatic, very slight, but enough to catch your eye. And honestly, enough to make any kid run for their life. Ebbe tries to stay calm. She prefers to believe it was just a draft, something simple, something rational. But there's a problem with that explanation. It was late. The house was completely closed up. Doors, windows, everything locked. And if you look closely, nothing else in the room moves. Nothing. Now pay attention to what happens right after the boy runs out of the living room. Look closely at the image. A small sphere of light drifts across the screen. Quick, silent. What many people refer to as an orb. For those who follow cases like this, that usually raises a lot of questions. For others, it might just be dust, a reflection, something common in nighttime recordings. But the timing of when it appears is suspicious, especially after everything that happened just seconds earlier. Ebbe says she doesn't believe in ghosts. She tries to remain skeptical. Even so, it's hard to ignore her son's fear. Children, especially the more sensitive ones, tend to pick up on changes in the environment in a way adults don't. In the end, nothing was clearly explained. The doll is still there. The house is the same. But that early morning left behind a question that still lingers, and the conclusion is up to you. A few years ago, a shipyard operated in a small city in the United States. It was a typical place for heavy labor, until everything changed because of a terrible accident. A woman ended up being crushed by one of the machines she operated. After that, the shipyard couldn't recover and eventually shut down. Time passed. Years later, the place was reopened, but with a completely different purpose. The old shipyard was turned into a massive storage warehouse. But ever since then, those who work there swear the environment has never been the same. Employees began reporting strange happenings. Sounds with no source, doors moving when they shouldn't, the constant feeling of being watched. And one of those employees ended up recording something right in front of his own eyes. That's when things started to get strange.
I'm about to quit. Shit.
In the footage, the man notices a door opening by itself. There's no one around. Still, the door moves clearly. Instinctively, he rushes over to check what's going on. But when he gets there, he finds absolutely nothing. The hallway is empty. No people. No signs of a break-in. Nothing that could explain what just happened. And the disturbing part is that this wasn't an isolated incident. Sometime later, on another workday, he was reviewing the security camera footage. Everything seemed normal until something on one of the screens caught his attention. That's when the fear really set in.
What the fuck? No, I ain't seen this. Oh my God. the fuck? Y'all, this shit is wild. It happened right in here. That is fucking crazy. Y'all see that on camera?
On the footage, a figure can be seen moving through one of the sections of the building. The silhouette is fast, but clear enough to send chills down your spine. Without thinking twice, he rushes again to the area shown on the camera, and once again, the scene repeats itself. When he arrives, there's no one there. The space is completely empty, as if nothing had passed through just seconds earlier. Neither he nor the other employees have any logical explanation for the strange events inside the warehouse. There are no obvious system errors, no signs of forced entry, and yet the occurrences continue. Among the workers, one theory is starting to gain strength, that the spirit of the woman who died in that accident never left the place, that somehow she still roams the old shipyard, now transformed into a warehouse. Nothing has been proven, no definitive answers have been found, and whatever truly happens inside that building remains a mystery. The account Nina Lugo shared something that, at first glance, looked completely harmless. That day, he was just filming a casual video at home, recording a simple moment with his daughter, a normal clip, the kind you make without thinking much about it. Up to that point, nothing seemed unusual. The problem only appeared later, when he decided to re-watch the footage more carefully. That's when he noticed a detail he had completely missed during the recording, and one he still can't explain to this day. That's when everything changed. In the footage, everything looks calm. The little girl is front and center, close to the camera, taking up most of the attention. But now, focus on the background. If you look closely, you can see something sitting at the table. It's subtle, easy to ignore at first glance, but the person who shared the video noticed that whatever that thing is, it has a clearly humanoid silhouette. At the same time, though, something about its appearance is very wrong. It doesn't look like a normal person. The shape doesn't match. When the video is paused, the detail becomes even more unsettling. The figure appears to have a strange face with an exaggeratedly large jaw, something deformed and disproportionate. Many people who analyzed the clip compared it to a real-life, extremely bizarre version of the character, Ernesto de la Cruz. And that's exactly what makes it so disturbing. There's no clear explanation for what was sitting there, no recognizable person, no obvious reflection, no editing, according to him. To this day, Nino Lugo says he's still trying to understand what was captured in that moment. But there is one detail that brings at least a little relief. Since then, no other strange recordings have been captured inside the house. Nothing similar has happened again. Even so, that image remains, and the question still hangs in the air. What was really sitting at that table that day? The answer, no one really knows. This woman keeps a collection of old dolls in her home. According to her, they're not ordinary objects. She believes these dolls are possessed, and more than that, she claims that, from time to time, she performs small experiments, trying to establish some kind of communication. The answers she says she receives are never comforting. But what really drew attention happened in the early hours of May 31st, 2025. That was the night something decided to reveal itself. Look closely at the doll positioned in the corner of the frame. The camera is static. The room is completely silent. Slowly, almost as if it were coming to life, the doll begins to lean forward, very slowly. At first you might think it's just losing balance, something ordinary maybe, but pay attention to what happens next. Suddenly, the doll jerks backward, fast and violently. A sharp, unnatural snap, a movement that seems to defy gravity and any simple explanation. There's no one nearby, no visible vibration, yet it moves. And this wouldn't be the only incident. The owner of the collection believes these dolls didn't come alone. In her view, something else entered the house along with them, something that doesn't stay confined to the shelves. Sometime later, while she was going about her usual tasks in the kitchen, another incident was captured by the house cameras. That's when things got even stranger. At first, everything looks normal. The woman is distracted, focused on what she's doing. The environment is calm and quiet. But without any warning, the door of one of the cabinets swings open violently. It's not a gentle opening. An object is thrown out with force, and within seconds, the cabinet door slams shut again. With the same intensity it opened, everything happens far too quickly. Her reaction is immediate, pure instinct. She startles, drops what she was doing, and bolts out of the kitchen as fast as she can. Now pay attention to this. No one was touching that cabinet. There's no clear indication of wind, mechanical failure, or any visible interference, which leads to the inevitable question: are these dolls responsible for this frightening activity? Or could something even more serious have settled inside that home? To this day, no explanation has been enough, and the mystery continues. Tali is a mother who usually shares light, everyday moments on social media, relaxed clips of her routine, and cute scenes with her son. Nothing unusual, but one particular post ended up getting attention for a very different reason, and a much more unsettling one. This recording was made on Christmas night. The family was gathered at home, and since it was already late, Tali assumed her son was asleep in his room. At least, that's what she believed at the time. What she didn't know was that he was still awake, playing by himself, or maybe not entirely by himself. That's when something strange happened.
Someone please tell me what this scary motion in my son's room is.
On the baby monitor, everything looks normal at first glance. The boy is calm, playing in the room, not showing any signs of fear. But now focus on the right side of the screen. Look carefully. Something appears suddenly, and within seconds, disappears. What shows up looks unmistakably like the head of another child, a little girl. It's quick, easy to miss if you blink. But once you really pay attention, the shape becomes impossible to ignore. And here's an important detail. Tali insists, without a shred of doubt, that there were no other children in the house at that moment. No guests, no cousins, no neighbors, not even pets that could explain that figure. To her, whatever that was simply shouldn't have been there. But that's not all. Watch the footage again. At the exact moment that figure appears, something else stands out. A little higher up, you can see a small sphere of light moving across the image, an orb. Many paranormal investigators believe that where there are orbs, there's often some kind of unusual activity. Of course, there are technical explanations too: reflections, dust, camera interference. But the timing of this one raises questions. Tali is still trying to find a logical explanation for what was recorded that Christmas night. So far, nothing seems to fit. The video is still online, being analyzed by viewers frame by frame. And the question remains, do you think it was just a coincidence caught on camera, or was that child really not alone in the room? As always, the answer is up to you. Recently, a woman was visiting a house with her family. The idea was simple. They all wanted to get a better look at the place they were considering moving into. Just an innocent video to document the moment and watch later with calm. Nothing suggested it would turn into something disturbing. But later, while reviewing the recording, she noticed a detail she had completely missed during the visit. That's when the atmosphere changed.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm scared of them. That's why I walked it.
Bubby, you stay with us.
I'm going down. Who's having this room? Okay.
Ooh, it's purple.
You want this room,
It's Harry Potter theme.
If you pay close attention to the audio, you can clearly hear a voice. It's not loud, it's not direct, it's a whisper, soft, almost hidden within the ambient sound of the recording. At first, it could easily be mistaken for background noise, interference, something common in videos recorded on a phone. But listen carefully. What truly frightened the woman was realizing what the voice said. The whisper clearly pronounces her niece's name, and that's an important detail. The girl was right there at the time, walking around the house with everyone else. No one was calling the child. There was no background conversation that could justify it. Yet the name is spoken clearly enough to send chills down your spine. After that, the video started spreading quickly. Thousands of people began analyzing the recording, especially the audio. Many believe it's not something ordinary. To them, the whisper might be connected to something supernatural, maybe the spirit of someone who once lived in that house. Others try to find a rational explanation. Echo, sound coincidence, auditory pareidolia. But the fact remains, the name is there, and the moment it appears, raises a lot of questions. To this day, the woman has no explanation for what was captured during that visit. And the most unsettling part is thinking that the voice seemed to know exactly who was there. What was it? And why did it call specifically the child's name? The answer is still open. A person woke up in the morning like any other day. Everything seemed normal. Still lying in bed, they grabbed their phone, and that's when something caught their attention. A notification from the home security system. The alert indicated some unusual movement detected during the night. That alone is enough to make anyone uneasy. Without wasting time, they opened the footage to see what had happened while everyone was asleep. But what shows up on the recording is not something easy to explain. Look closely at the footage. While the house is completely silent, a strange reflection appears on the refrigerator door. It's not fixed. It forms subtly, almost as if it materializes out of nowhere. Right after that, something even more unsettling shows up. A white silhouette begins moving slowly through the room. The movement is smooth, continuous, and the shape looks like a person walking. But here's the key detail. Despite the humanoid outline, it's clear that whatever that is, it's not an actual person. There's no face, no clothing, no natural footsteps, just a faint shape drifting silently across the space. The person watching the recording was completely shocked. According to them, everyone in the house was already asleep at that hour. No one got up, no one walked through the kitchen, and no one recognizes that figure. To this day, there's no clear explanation for what was captured that night. No one knows if it was an unusual reflection, a camera glitch, or something that truly shouldn't have been there at all. And that's the most disturbing part, because whatever it was, it moved through the house while everyone was sleeping, and the question of what really happened still remains. Governates of the night, these were 7 chilling videos. If you enjoyed this one, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Your support keeps the darkness alive. Until next time, stay alert, stay aware, and remember, the night is always watching.